Hang
Oh,
on.
we're streaming live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
All right. So
How are you this fine day, Ethan?
I'm doing great. I'm not having any technical problems at all, and everything's wonderful. How are you doing?
We're dealing with some gremlins. You know?
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
This
and-
internet thing is new to everybody.
And I've just started the watch party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. What are we doing today, Ethan? I think I know what we're doing.
Before all that happiness started, we had a plan to talk about some entertainment marketing from you.
Yeah.
And
really
so,
anything anybody wants.
really anything, if anybody.
AMA about anything, but thought it might be interesting to have some discussions or answer some questions about the state of where we're at as far as marketing magic as an entertainment to real people.
And are you talking about marketing it in the current climate situation, or in general when things are like regular?
Yeah, we can talk about anything. I think right now we're done. We're shut down.
Right.
There's a lot of people in the world trying to sell virtual shows in one form or another.
Right.
I have a friend who's really coming hard at doing a live stream birthday party show over Zoom.
Right.
I'm interested to see how that works. I mean, he just offered one up for free this weekend, and a lot of people, on his friends list want to watch. But I don't know how that translates into the people that you don't know, just like out in the world,
Right. I mean, we're doing a lot of that here now too, and we have a lot of like afternoon shows going. And you were on one yesterday, right?
But we give content.
Right.
That's entertainment. Like you're trying to entertain people with Zoom through, that's a little different.
Right, right.
But a lot of people are, I applaud everyone who's trying something,
I mean, we're trying this. I mean, I'm trying this.
Exactly.
I don't know if anyone can tell, but I'm way out of my comfort zone.
I think you're doing a fantastic job. Personally.
Thanks, buddy. I think you're doing a fantastic job.
I don't really, you don't appear to be out of your comfort zone to me.
Oh, okay. Well.
But, I think just in general, if anyone has any questions, just kind of throw them out there at the Facebook page.
We got our first question already.
Great. Let's hear it.
William Nagel, who I speak to a lot in support.
Hello, William.
You're getting your book by Jay, by the way, William. He's going to send it to you. Anyway, maybe I should save that for later. Do you adjust your fees to make up for lost time after this is over, like after this whole thing is over?
Well, that's a really great question. So I think what William's question is that will I try to raise my fees to make up for this period of time where I had no business? Well, I wasn't doing any business. Is that the general gist? Mm-hmm. I don't think you get to do that. Yeah. I don't think you get to double your price to make up for the lost time. I think just like a lot of businesses right now, you just lose it. I also think that we are about ready for a big reset. And this will be the second or third reset that I've been through. But, there was a time when I would go do a gig and get paid really, really well. And then not really 9/11, but I think it's the 2008 situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think at the 2008 situation after that, I think my fee probably almost got cut in half.
And did it stay that way, or did it ever work out?
In fact, I was just this year able to start raising it back closer to what it was prior to 2008. So this year was I figured, well, I'm going to try to start, where it's appropriate, trying to get my pricing back to where it was. And then this happened. So I think the short answer is no, I don't think you get to charge a higher rate because this happened. I think if anything, you're going to have to be real price sensitive because I think everyone's going to be price sensitive.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think and I was a guitar salesman during that 2008 thing. Mm-hmm. And, first things to go are all the, I guess, what they call non-essentials. And, people don't need a Paul Reed Smith. When the recession's going down, that's just the way it is. And I saw all these guitars that I had sold the previous year or two earlier come back into the store, and things never really bounce back.
Used buys?
Yeah, used buys. Came back.
Used buys. Yeah, you were buying them back at a lower price. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So Richard,
Here's the thing. Before
Okay.
you jump on there, here's one last thing I'd like to say about that. I think that we can't lose sight of the fact that our product really doesn't have a cost associated with it. Yes, we buy props. Yes, we spend money to learn things. Yes, we pay for some gas to go places. But it's not like we have a hard cost in a product. Like I buy a product for $500 and I need to sell it for $750 to make everything work. So we can afford to adjust our prices where necessary when this thing is over to start working, because just like I say all the time, whoever does the most shows wins, you know, and the more shows you do, the more shows you do. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. So I think that's probably the thing that I'm going to grab onto.
Dan Rifkin is shouting into the chat, keep the price points the same. Do you agree with that?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. Because no one's ever been through all this before. So
yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on what the market does. You can ask any price you want to ask. If, you know, you can keep, it depends on where your price is too, right? Because if you're at the top of the market, right, there's guys at the top of the market, there's guys in the sweet spot middle, and then there's low end people that ask a lesser price. I shouldn't say low end because that implies that, you know, they're not, and there's some way lesser, but they just ask a lesser price, right? So maybe those people would stick, you know, but if you're in the high end of that market, I mean, it just depends on what's going to happen. Are corporations going to come back with, you know, big budgets for a live events again? Are they going to have their awards banquets where they're spending money on food and open bar and entertainment and hotel rooms? And are they going to do that again? I don't know. And I don't know what it's going to look like either.
Perfect time for me to say one awards banquet that won't be going away is the Conjis. So please go vote.
Yeah. Hey man, vote for the Conjis.
But the business of like going after live shows and trying to get clients right now is kind of dead, isn't it?
I believe it is. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't believe it is. It is dead.
It is dead. Okay.
It is dead right now.
Richard Dean stumbled on, didn't know anything was happening today. Richard, just to make it clear. Hi, Richard. This is not a planned, I mean, it's planned, but this is not we don't announce the Lunchtime Friday thing. If you want to tell everyone about it and tell people it's great, that's awesome, but it's not going to any emails or anything. Richie has a question. He says, how do you introduce yourself to grab their attention, whether it's walk around, table hopping, stage, etc.? What points do you get across in your intro? I guess he's just talking about in some walk around magic.
So just how do you break into groups?
Yeah. And I liked, really quick, I liked Lee Asher's, what is it? The Ripper? Mm-hmm. He showed a good one on that.
Yeah. Anyway. So there's a couple different ways to do it depending upon what you're comfortable with and you know how you really see yourself in that situation. But
I'm way out of.
So are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things, so something you can do to break into a group is to come out with a lightning bolt of some kind. And I think that's what you're talking about with the Ripper, but some kind of a lightning bolt, like a fire wallet, or, you know, something that just happens real fast and lets everyone know what's up, and then you can introduce yourself. That's a viable option. Personally, what I like to do is I like to approach a group with nothing in my hand. So I'd never approach with a deck in my hands. And this is something I learned from Aaron probably 15 years ago. It was part of a lecture that he gave where he said, you know, you never want to approach a group with a deck of cards in your hand, because it's like saying, hello, my name is Deck of Cards, and this is my magician, Steve. You know, it kind of like lets you know, it kind of like exposes the whole thing. So what I like to do is hit up a group, introduce myself, thank everyone for coming. Maybe ask, if no one's asking me who I am and what I want, I might ask, what do you do for a living? And then eventually they'll go, well, what do you do? And they go, oh, I'm supposed to walk around and show everybody a quick trick, you know, or something along those lines. And every single time they go, let's see what you got. You know, and then you got to hit them with something good. You know,
would you like to know what living with Aaron Fisher for a very long time as a childhood turned me into? You want to role play?
Yeah, sure.
Pretend you're the walk around guy.
Hey, what's going on? My name's Steve.
Hey.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Ethan. How are you? It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too, Ethan. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah, it's a good cause.
Have you had any free entertainment yet?
No, I haven't.
I happen to be cheap and free, and I'm lousy. Would you like to see something?
What do you do?
There you go. And then you're in.
No, that's not how it works.
That is how it works.
You didn't let me get to the good part.
What's the good part?
You gotta tell me you're a magician.
I'm a magician.
No.
Really? Has someone stolen your soul?
No, it's back. It's back, but for a long time it was definitely like.
Did someone steal your soul?
Yeah, someone stole my soul.
You're very dark on the inside. It might be time to lighten up.
It might be. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Coffee.
All right. So William had another question.
Go.
I usually compliment somebody about their clothes and then say, except for the yellow part, and then proceed to pull a yellow silk out of their sleeve.
Okay.
That'll work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's okay.
Chris over in England has one.
Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Let's not do that. Okay.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. You started it.
I'm an Anglophile. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
I love everybody. Go ahead.
If you could show anyone one trick, what would it be?
I mean, it depends on the situation. My general, if I can only show you one trick, okay, and it depends on the situation. It's very situational, but I do Psycho Killer is probably if I have to give you one thing, and it might be the only thing you see me do, I do Psycho Killer. And that's in the back room.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one, frankly, I just showed you before we came live.
Oh, 4 clubs?
Yeah, that trick was Psycho Killer. Yeah.
Okay. One of the guys showed me one that I think we recently featured, and I don't watch the features as I should. So when he showed it to me, I was completely blown away. I loved it. I wanted to buy it. Sentimental.
Yeah, that's a big one right now.
I really liked it because it had that Freddie Mercury card in it for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
That's all you, man.
It just looked like a cool deck to have anyway.
Yeah, it's all you.
But
here's the thing: if you're just going to show somebody every routine you put together, okay, like let's say you're working a strolling gig, okay, you should construct routines that can end at any point. So if I were to show you one effect, okay, and then for some reason that group breaks up, they start making announcements, the buffet's open, everyone needs to sit down and eat, whatever happens, if they walk away at the end of that one trick, they've seen you do something really impressive and really good. So you can't have anything that's long drawn out, takes a while for it to come together, a lot of moving parts. It has to be something very direct and straightforward.
All right, so please enlighten me because I don't know, and I'm here to get enlightened. You were there 2 years ago, I think, at the summit where we saw Pop Hayden do his ring routine. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
okay.
the linking ring routine. It's called the teaching routine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it seemed very, very, take this how you want. It seemed very, very long to me, like very long. Was it stretched out because he was doing it for magicians, or is it usually like that? Or...
I have to tell you that I don't actually recall that particular evening. I've seen that act many times.
By him or just in general?
By him. I've seen him do it many times.
Yeah. And,
the truth is that things are always different when you're performing at essentially a magic convention.
Right.
Like I'll take an act that I do, week in, week out in front of real people, and it just kills. It gets laughs in all the right spots. Everything's right about it. And then you do it at a magic convention and, it's kind of a little snickery. You don't get the same response because that audience is different. And so I think if you take an act like Doc's teaching act, his linking ring routine, and you don't get the laughs in the right spots, it feels different. It feels longer, like it's, different. So I wouldn't hold him to that particular performance. And no, I don't think he did anything different. I think he does the same act, does that routine the same way every time for the most part.
And I hate to keep bringing up Summit stories, especially since, we're postponed for now, but I will. Jonathan Levitt came and did The Stranger, but he did it modified for magicians.
Mm.
And we had brought in some people to watch the show.
Yeah.
And that, the magic of that particular act was lost on them a little bit because he had modified it so much for magicians.
Right.
Which will happen, right? At a convention.
Yeah, I personally think, okay, that magicians watching other magicians need to put on a different pair of glasses.
Right.
And instead of expecting, you need to step back and enjoy it for all the parts that put it together, as opposed to expecting that magician to somehow fool you when you're already on the other side of the curtain and you understand a lot about how things work.
Well, no, and Pop was great. I'm not saying he wasn't, but there was like a 12-year-old in the room there, and he was playing the whole thing to him, and it went off beautifully.
Right.
I was, just curious about how Richie's asked how someone chooses a set. Like someone like Pop chose that set, but it seemed like the last 15, 20 minutes was the rings.
Well, Richie, what you do is you're working on a group of effects. I imagine you are. You have a card revelation. You have different, maybe an ambitious card routine, maybe a coin routine, whatever it is. And, you start looking at the things you have and figuring out what things go logically together. Okay. And then you kind of put them together and then figure out if it opens in the right place, like with a thunderbolt essentially of some kind, or if you need to add something to the front of it to get it going. And then that's how you put it together. So for example, I joke all the time, like my number one card routine, like what I call my A set, I've probably been doing the exact same A set for 12 years or more. Okay. And it hasn't changed much. It starts out with a 4-of-a-kind revelation. They then pick a card and sign it. I do a triumph, and then I go into ambitious, and then I go into an impossible location. Those three all fit together because they select 4 cards. I let them select one of those cards that they've already selected. So that's a through line. Then we do an in the hands triumph effect where they end up with their signed card back. Then we go to ambitious because that just makes all the sense in the world. Do 3 tight phases and then an impossible location in the end. And that feels like a complete set. And it also can end in any place. So if they were to end at the end of the triumph, that would be, they would have seen 2 great effects. So that's kind of the general thinking on it. It's more difficult, okay, to say, I'm going to open with a coin routine, then I'm going to do a card trick, then I'm going to do a handkerchief trick, then I'm going to do my chop cut. Right? Because those are all different things. So it's harder to get a through line there. You can do it. It's just a little harder.
Well, if I knew what any of that stuff meant, I would say. But I'm sure everyone else here understood it fine.
Ask him if they did, because.
Hey, can we get ones for Steve if you?
I don't think we can get one because where are you looking at this chat?
I don't know. I'm really confused today. I'm looking at Facebook.
I am too, but I don't see any questions there.
Yeah, no. Chad mentioned how Mark Correa killed at the last one. With his off-color humor.
He has a lot of off-color humor that, it makes sense because he works. First of all, I love him. Okay.
We got ones. I love him too.
I love him.
I think I fell in love with him that weekend. I'm ready to move to Canada.
First of all, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
First of all. But I just love him. But, the act that you saw him do at the summit is very much a comedy club act. You know? Mm-hmm. You could never do, I'm not saying you can't do all of it. You'd have to clean it up to put that in front of a corporate audience, an awards banquet, or, you're not going to be able to do the type of jokes he did and have the HR people not really, about to jump up and shut off your mic, because it's a little touchy for a lot of that stuff.
Do you remember, did you ever listen to a lot of Steve Martin comedy records? ever?
I've listened to Wild and Crazy Guy, like
And Let's Get
Inside
Small,
Out.
stuff like that.
What was the other one?
And Let's Get Small.
I don't remember that.
Those are the two. I don't know. One of them had him talking about doing a corporate show for the plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
And he got very specific about the sockets.
Right.
Only for plumbers, but he told the joke for everybody, so of course it fell flat. So do you get asked to do a lot of that? Like you're doing something for a very specific company and they ask you to, get it, the humor in?
People ask for all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Like, hey, we've got this one guy we want you to bring up on stage and make fun of him or, make him the butt of the joke or whatever. That happens all the time. We got the perfect guy for that.
They give you a Jerry Gergich?
I don't know what that is, but
that's Parkinson's. Anyway.
I generally try to back, and then occasionally they'll say things like, you can go R-rated if you want. You can go as far as you want to go with this group, and I'm always very apprehensive at that because what do they really mean? Can I go Richard Pryor on them? Probably not, So when they say you can go R or whatever, I kind of don't commit to anything and just do what I do.
Can you tell us some Richard Pryor jokes now?
Pardon me?
Can you tell us some Richard Pryor jokes now?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But in general, I don't do a lot of custom material. I try not to do a lot of custom material, but I do try to work in the moment that we're in, what the reason is that we're doing what we do, the name of the company. I try to make it specific to the moment, but I don't like to try to write jokes about plumbers, because I'm not Steve Martin, and
I know.
Thank you. I could occasionally might come up with something, but this is what they're asking you to do. Unless you're a professional comedy writer. I mean, I'm a pretty good writer. All right. But I wouldn't say I'm a professional. I'm no Larry Wilmore. Let's put it that way. Okay. I am no Larry Wilmore.
April 8th, 10 p.m. Wednesday.
Yeah. Don't miss it, guys. The guy has an Emmy. We actually have a guy coming who has an Emmy.
He might have more than one.
He might have more than one. And he's got Eddie Murphy's phone number in his phone. Okay. Anyway. So what they're really asking you to do is, hey, write some material specifically for our group and then test it out that night for the first time.
Right.
And I don't like that. I like to know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I like to know my stuff's going to hit. So I don't like to do that.
Is there a really weird facet of society in the shows you've done, like what the companies do? Is it has like something you wouldn't normally think of? Like these people make the underpinnings for the bottom of wigs. Oh,
you have no idea the things. I mean, there's all kinds of companies in this world. I think it's funny. What's that?
I was saying, thanks, Clark. You said smooth plug. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you. There's all kinds of companies in the world. I've worked for all kinds of groups, all kinds of companies. A group that's had me back 3 times is the Missouri Association of Monument Builders. Do you know what that is?
I mean, I can guess, but
guess.
It was an association of people
monument builders
that help design, plan, and put up monuments in Missouri or gravestones. Okay.
Gravestones. So I'll remember the first time I worked for them was the Sheridan in Clayton, Missouri.
Shout out to Clayton.
Yeah. And so they introduce me. I come out. I do 3 jokes. I'm about to get started. A guy jumps up out of his seat. Okay. And he walks up and gets on the stage. There's 150 people in the room, pulls out a tape measure and starts measuring me like this. Right. And I look at him like, what's up? He's like, I'm just measuring you for a coffin when you die here today. He said that in front of everybody. Right. And I'm the kind of person like I just laugh along with that and go, get back to your seat or we're going to need one for you too. I'll say something like that, or whatever. But
you don't do the really angry, do you want to get up here?
No, absolutely not. Okay. No, I'm unflappable for the most part. But yeah, I mean, it's all kinds of companies. I mean, I've done all kinds of crazy. I mean, there's companies that make here's the thing. I think when people say, oh, I only do corporate work, people think, oh, Microsoft, all the biggest companies in the world. That's what they think that means. But what I think most people do now, I can't speak for the whole world, but I think where the market really is my market. Let's put it that way. I like to work for companies with under 200 employees.
Okay.
That's my market. That's what really fits what I do. That's what really,
is that just because that's what the room size will be?
Well, I just think it's a different thing after that. So if you have a company that's having an event and there's 400 employees, all of a sudden now, if they bring spouses to like the holiday party or something, that's 800 or 1,000 people. And now it's a different thing.
Right.
We need to really look at this in a different way. So the last couple of years, I have done an event in downtown St. Louis at Union Station for the, I can't think of the name of the group right now, but basically they're scrap metal dealers. So they're junk men. Okay.
Okay.
And this party that they spent a ton of money on, okay, has between 1,000 and 1,500 people at it. And so if I hit that by myself doing strolling magic, I will have zero impact on that party. Because how many people can I actually visit in 2 hours or even 4 hours? Maybe 250 people. That's a quarter of the room. So you have to handle that in a different way. So I put, my friend, and it was actually his gig that he brought me in on, but basically we put together what we call the Magic Squad, and it's 4 of us that'll hit that party and we can have a big impact on it then, So,
right.
So once you get over a certain number, for me, it's just not what I do. I like to keep it in the, under 200 employees is pretty much where I try to farm a lot of my business.
And do you ever have to, and I'm sure this is one of those questions that is obvious to everyone but me, do you ever have a stroll around but also stage in the same corporate gig?
Always.
Yeah,
always.
Okay.
So how I look at it is I'm going to, I want to do the strolling. Sometimes I'll insist on it if they don't want to do it. Because what's happening there is I'm schmoozing this room, I'm meeting people, I'm letting them know who I am. And even the people that I don't get to, they see me going to groups and everyone's laughing and having a good time. So that means later on after dinner, when I get on that stage, they kind of know me. It's kind of a warm situation at that point. And even if I didn't visit you, right, they'll look at me on the stage and say, that's that guy that everyone was laughing at over there. Let's see what he does. And now I get 5 minutes to win this room at this point.
Right. And maybe if something funny happened in the group with Sherry, you can point out later and say, oh, Sherry knows what I'm talking about.
I do a lot of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of do a lot of that.
I'm smart. Do you have a formula for like the comedy writing you do for magic?
No. Boy, that's a tough question to answer. I don't exactly have a formula. I build it from the ground up like I think probably you would have to is, of course, you start with, the instructional script,
Right.
You need to take the card, bring it back, whatever it is you're doing. And then the most important thing that leads me to where this routine is going to be is the why, because I think that guy sitting in the audience, I mean, a lot of the shows that I used to do, because now I don't do any shows anymore, but a lot of those people, I've stood in front of audience and looked out and I know that every single person in the room's got a master's or more,
Right.
I've done like, what was the name of that? I did it in Memphis too, is the international, basically it was like some international consortium of orthopedic surgeons. Okay. So
a laid back party heavy crew there.
I mean, very heavy, a heavy room, a heavy room. And when they're even hiring me, they're just going like, we don't even know how this is going to work because, people think that the point of magic is to show you something that you can't figure out. And I think my job is to entertain you, not necessarily show you something you can't figure out. I'm going to do that, but that's not the point of it. The point is to make you laugh and have a good time. And so
that's where Steve Feldman's tongue depressors would come in.
Yeah. I mean, what an awesome icebreaker.
Yeah.
But, for what he does, But basically, I guess what I'm saying is I want to know the why. That guy sitting in the audience is looking up there, and you pull out the handkerchief or you do whatever. And the first thought in his mind is, why is this guy showing me this? What is the point of this? Right? So that's the first thing to figure out that I think is really important.
Word.
Yeah. Is
good,
the why.
good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right on.
I'm hip.
Yeah. I know you are. So it looks like we still have some folks here. If anyone wants to ask us anything, get them in now, because I think we're going to go in a minute.
I would love to answer some more questions.
Yeah.
Considering
that we lost the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, because Facebook wasn't being nice.
Because Facebook wasn't being nice and it was being a bit slow on the data collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think really the most important thing to do, right, is that now is the time to get your ducks in a row. Now is the time to figure out what you're going to do. I've talked to a lot of magicians around the world, and the future is fairly uncertain right now. When will things get back to normal? No idea, but I can tell you that the event industry, and, the local community events, okay, those things in general, I think it's going to be kind of the last thing to come back. I mean, if you're a restaurant worker, right? Let's say like you really had your heart set on getting some strolling gigs, or I have a couple of friends that's their bread and butter. They work restaurants. They have 5 or 6 a week. What's going to happen? A lot of restaurants are going to go out of business.
Yep.
Right? I mean, and the restaurants that don't go out of business and reopen, they're going to be like hanging on by the skin of their teeth, right? Because a restaurant runs on a super thin margin, and you shut it down for 2 months or 3 months or however long it's going to be. If that guy comes back, who's the restaurant owner, and I'm not talking corporate restaurants, I'm talking a guy owns a restaurant or two.
A chef that decided to open a restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, or just a guy who runs a restaurant. Like we've got a couple of big chains that are local chains in St. Louis opened by a specific family. You know what I'm saying? And, I wonder what's going to happen. I think it's easier for them to understand a guitar player. And I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen there. I would imagine that they're going to cut all that stuff until they get it rolling again and see if people are going to come back and what it's going to be like.
2 more questions.
Love it.
Well, one is, have you ever changed your show in midstream to tailor, or realized that you were working with a different kind of crowd than you thought you were?
I can't recall a time I did that.
Okay.
I think that I think the smart thing to do always, okay, especially, so what he's describing is you got up, you've done 15 minutes and you're bombing, right? I mean, that's, right. I think. And so if that was my situation, I would want to go to whatever I think the strongest trick is to get that room going. And that trick should already be in my set, because why would you be holding back something really strong?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a good idea to like pretend like, you go back to your golf bag and figure out which club to use. You know what I mean? I don't think I would do that. I think I would go to the next thing and make sure I made it hit,
And I guess the last thing Daniel asked is
this Daniel Rifkin?
Daniel Rifkin.
BA? Got it. Okay, go ahead.
BA?
Yes.
I don't understand.
BA.
BA. Daniel Rifkin. I got you.
Yeah.
Describe the funniest show you've ever had.
I don't even know, man. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because every time I go out, I expect to kill. I am the worst critic of what I do.
I think everybody is.
Oh, I'm in the tent. If I go do a gig and I don't kill, right? I mean, the drive home is like contemplative, introspective, what's going on. I'll be in the tank for like 2 days,
Right.
It just, so I always expect to really kill. But I think that it's hard to say. I can't remember a specific time, but there's no better feeling in the world to me. Okay. That I get up there, they introduce me, first words out of my mouth, I get a laugh. The next 3 jokes hit. I do the first effect. The jokes are hitting. Everything's going. And within like 5 or 7 minutes that you just have the room.
Right.
And then you're just steamrolling ahead. And, that's what I really love. I love when people come up to me afterwards and they just go, man, we laughed so hard my side hurts. I just have to get away from you, and that's when I know I'm doing really well. I'll tell you something I did do. I used to, and if all the guys in Conjuror community know about the Monty routine that I do.
Okay.
And I used to put that in the middle of my act. So I would do comedy. Darn it, I hit my mic again. Was that really loud? I apologize. I would do comedy. And then I'd get to that Monty routine, which is more of a demonstration type effect that's humorous, but not really funny. And my thinking was I would give people a chance to catch their breath. Okay. And then right after that, we would go right back to comedy, the end. So I'd give them that moment in the middle to just kind of like stop laughing so hard for a second. And then I would pick it up again. And then after a while, I just said, you know what? I'm not even going to give them that break. I'm just going to make them laugh through the whole thing. And I just cut that routine. I just don't do it anymore.
Okay.
And now it's just laughs all the way through. And it's changed everything a lot.
Now this is one for me.
Yes.
Speaking on the comedy front,
Mm-hmm.
do you have specific comedy influences? Like, who are some of your favorites?
Guys that I really, really love.
Yeah.
Okay. I love Mike Finney.
Okay.
I love him.
Okay.
I'm a huge Steve Martin fan.
Sure.
Huge. Huge. I liked Harry Anderson a lot.
Yep.
These are mostly magicians. As far as comedy, like comedians go, I like all the big guys. Like I watch a lot of comedy just because I like it. Like I like Taylor Tomlinson right now. I think she's really funny.
Okay.
I love Amy Schumer. I think she's really funny.
Even that black leather one, dude?
I don't know which one that is.
It's literally called like the black leather specialist. No,
I like something's happened. But anyway. Yeah. She's a mother now and it's different. She doesn't have the hate in her heart. But I just like guys that are funny, people that are funny.
Yeah.
And
do you like Mark Maron?
Yeah, I saw that special he has, End Times or whatever.
Oh my God, it's way too on the nose right now.
Oh, it's so funny.
It hit at the perfect time.
Oh, we laughed so hard. I laughed so hard at that. I do like Mark Maron.
And did you ever watch Larry Miller back when he was in the prime?
I'm not familiar with Larry Miller.
He's a movie guy. You see him, and he does this famous bit about how the devil, you're drinking at a bar like the 12 shots of Christmas or something. Mm-hmm. And I remember going on a USY trip when I was like 12 or something. They took us to a comedy club in DC. And he came out and, and it was a guy that we known from movies, but like not like a big star. And he did that bit. And I saw it later on HBO. It destroyed me. He's a guy that meets with like Seinfeld and Paul Reiser once a year to have,
like Seinfeld. Here's what I don't like. Okay. There's many comedians when you watch them. Okay. You can feel their contempt. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like their humor comes from a place of contempt.
Yeah.
You never felt that with Steve Martin.
Right.
You never felt that with, I had someone at the top of my, Seinfeld. You never feel contempt from Jerry Seinfeld.
No.
Right?
I feel bewilderment at the world around him, but not.
Well, but he's yeah. I mean, he doesn't come from that place.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you're talking about comedians and making people laugh, it's like you have to be conscious of that, because I think that kind of having your comedy come from that kind of a place and then combining it with magic is a terrible combination.
Right.
It's a terrible combination. As is when you do an effect for somebody who is on stage with you right? Like a participation type effect. And you make them look like the butt of the joke, or they're the ones that can't get it right, or look what, everyone in the audience watches back at what you're doing and says, look what he's doing to that person. Right? That, I think that's a terrible combination for Magic.
And I think Marin used to do that, but I don't think he does it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there's some guys that are like Don Rickles, right? I mean, one of my all-time favorites, grew up as a kid loving Don Rickles. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine somebody else actually being able to do that like what Don Rickles did, right? I mean, if you don't know Don Rickles, some of you younger guys, go start watching some videos. He's like
there's some great video of Don Rickles out there.
I mean, I just love the guy. He's fantastic, but no one else will be able to do that. But imagine if you took that kind of insult comedy and mixed it with magic.
Right. Probably not great.
Somebody can do it. There's someone in the world that can do it, but it's going to be really, really hard. Do we have any other questions?
No, not really. Ron is saying hi to me, so I'm going to say hi, Baxter. How you doing, buddy? No, I think that's it, man. Thanks for coming out and doing this again.
My pleasure. I'm happy to do it. I love to do it, actually. But let's just remind everybody that, Wednesday night's going to be a big deal.
Wednesday's going to be a very big deal. Larry Wilmore,
does everybody understand who this man is?
You know what? Talk about him for a second while I look up his IMDb just so people know. Yeah.
So, Larry Wilmore used to write for The Fresh Prince. He used to write for Eddie Murphy, and or at least collaborate with him. So he started, he was the correspondent on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart for a long time. I think he called himself the senior black correspondent, his angle was very, very funny. And then after Colbert left to go do The Late Show after David Letterman, the Colbert spot went to Larry Wilmore. And he had a show called The Nightly Show for about 2 or 3 years. So we're talking about a real show business guy. Yes.
In Living Color.
Oh, yeah. In Living Color.
Prince of Bel-Air, Sister, The Jamie Foxx Show, The PJs, Whoopi. He wrote the performance review episode of The Office. He was on The Office.
Yes.
He helped create the Bernie Mac show.
Mm-hmm.
He did the 2016 White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Ruffled a couple feathers there.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy right there.
The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore. Blackish, he wrote an episode. Grownish, now he's writing on Insecure. He's a big deal, and he's going to be with us.
So, which is an incredible honor.
Yeah.
Right? Because what we're talking about here is, with all due respect to everyone that's ever done a living room lecture for us, all the fantastic, great magicians that we've had come and lecture our club. Larry Wilmore is kind of on another level,
Yeah.
It's kind of another thing, and it's going to be fascinating. He's a member of the Magic Castle. He's a card magician. He loves magic, knows a lot about it. But the insight this guy can give us on just a whole host of things, like a lot of the questions you're asking here, fascinating. Don't miss it, and invite some friends. If you have, because we're going wide on it again, and if you have friends that
watch television,
just invite your friends, because it's going to be fascinating.
And if you're watching us now and you don't see a link, check your email. You'll see one.
Exactly.
Hey man, have a good weekend.
Yeah, what's a weekend?
It's not a thing. It's a thing I don't have right now, but that's okay.
I don't know about weekends, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the weeks are going by so fast, or they're going faster than they were last week. This has been March was the slowest month in the history of my life. Just because. And, I do a review podcast of Westworld on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like from the first week of Westworld podcast to the second week, it took 8 years.
Yeah.
But now they're going by faster. And by the time we get to Better Call Saul, it's a surprise because I forget it's even on.
Here's the deal. Everyone out there, man, we're going to get through this. We're not sure what the other side of it is as far as performing goes. I can't imagine it's going to go away forever. but we're not sure when it's going to happen, when it's coming back, strong.
Yeah.
So, prepare yourself. Now is the time to get your ducks in a row. Work on your act. If your website's not tight, now's the time to work on that. If you have promotional materials or photographs that aren't up to speed, now is the time. Now is the time to work on that stuff. You don't want to be doing that last minute when you find out all of a sudden bookings are happening. So work on that stuff now. Get yourself ready to push the button when the time comes. And
if you need insight from any of your panel members here at Conjure Community, I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff now. We're doing a lot of daytime content. We've had stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and if you count this Friday, I don't know if you count this or not.
I count this. I count this.
And we have a mastermind coming up the week after Larry Wilmore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that we have so many people that want feedback from Aaron and Steve and Rolando and Adam and Sean.
And Alex.
Yeah, Alex. If everybody wants...
Only Alex.
If people just want feedback from those, I hope we have so many people sign up that we need to add one. Because, now more than ever, mastermind, am I right?
Yeah, and, in case somebody sees this and doesn't know what mastermind is, mastermind is when club members actually come on screen and present something. It could be something you're working on or a move you're having trouble with, or maybe sometimes they come on with a complete routine. It doesn't matter. You can come on and do anything you want, and we will encourage you. We'll give you ideas. We'll share ideas off the top of our head. Basically, we'll collaborate with you. And you basically have a dream team to help you work on your magic. I'm not saying we're the dream team, but I couldn't think of a better thing at that moment. But
I mean, you're the Avengers of Magic.
What's that?
You're the Avengers of Magic.
Yeah. Ethan is kind of dreamy, but...
And I'm the Nick Fury.
Yeah, you're Nick Fury, without a doubt. Exactly.
I don't have an eye, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are cool. You should start wearing a patch.
I'm going to.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, everybody, thank you for visiting with us, and we'll see you next week. It might be Steve. It might be somebody else. I don't know.
I don't know. Who might be?
Might be somebody else.
Might be Larry Wilmore. We don't know.
Wouldn't it be great if he saw that we were so awesome? He's like, I need to talk to that guy on Friday at 1:00 in the afternoon, your time.
I really shouldn't even say this, but really what I want to try to do is I want to try to get, like, when we have a special living room lecture,
yeah,
I want to get whoever's doing that, okay, to appear on this show on the Friday before.
Ooh.
Right?
Maybe
give us a teaser, tell us what you're going to do, ask some questions, something.
When's Aaron's next living room lecture?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Do you have Aaron come on? Aaron will come on.
He's an easy call. I'll have him here. I'll have him. If enough people ask, I'll have him. It's my show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people have had enough. I don't know.
Never.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Right. All right, guys.
Hey, good to see you, man. Thanks everybody for asking your questions and for showing up.